The other party is the receiver. In any sort of communication process, in the beginning itself, the source of the message, that is the sender, has to first understand the message that he has to send by himself. He has to know the aim and the purpose of his message. The stage is simply called as conceiving the message in the mind of the sender. Later on, the message has to be encoded. This simply means the thoughts of sender which he has to convey to the receiver should be put in an appropriate manner, in an appropriate order, so that it is clearly understood by the receiver. After these two stages, the sender has to select an appropriate channel to send his message. Once the message has been sent to the receiver then decodes the message. Decoding the message simply means listening to the message effectively. Later on, he has to interpret the message. Interpretation stage involves understanding the message which has been sent by the sender according to the perception of the receiver. After these two stages, the receiver gives feedback to the sender on the basis of his understanding. This stage ensures that the message which was sent by the sender has been clearly understood by the receiver so that there are no misunderstandings and no confusion involved in understanding the message. Well, to understand this communication chart or this cycle in a better way, let me put an example. In a corporate world situation, let's consider two people over here. Let's consider a manager to be a sender and his secretary to be the receiver. And the situation over here is going to be the manager has to send a particular message to his secretary, to his personal secretary, which is the receiver. So, the sender, the manager, will first has to put his thoughts in order. First, he has to know the purpose of the message, what he has to convey. So, the message is going to be basically that there was an appointment or there was a meeting which was pre-planned for the day at 11 o'clock in the morning, which has to be postponed by 2 hours, which is going to be at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. This is the message that manager has to convey to his personal secretary. In order to do that, the manager will first understand that the aim of the message is going to be the secretary has to reschedule the appointment. Encoding the message will involve manager putting his thoughts together on certain aspects such as what time the meeting was planned previously, what time the meeting has to be rescheduled later on, and what action the personal secretary is supposed to take in order to reschedule the meeting. He will then select an appropriate channel. This could be an email, or it could be a telephone call, or it could be a face-to-face communication through which he will convey his message to his personal secretary. Once that is done, the receiver, the personal secretary, will try to listen to the message which will be sent by the sender, either by telephone call or an email or by face-to-face communication. After understanding the message and listening to the message clearly according to the time changes which has to be made, the personal secretary would come back to the boss saying that manager, as per your new schedule, we have decided to postpone the meeting which was previously planned at 11 o'clock in the morning, that would be rescheduled at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. The same message will be conveyed to a client very shortly by me. Is there anything else that I need to tell to the client, or are the timings correct? So this is the feedback which is being sent by the personal secretary to the manager so that there is no confusion in the entire process of this communication. If this entire process will be done articulately, there would be no confusions and there would be no communication which would come into picture, and the appointment would be scheduled effectively. Well, to go further, according to our famous psychologist Albert Mehrabian's. His research of three V's of communication is quite famous. Well, the research mainly talks about three major aspects which are involved in communication. Those aspects are mainly visuals, verbal, and voice. Visual basically refers to all nonverbal communication. Verbal mainly refers to the tone of the voice.